that joins us every single Wednesday. I think he's almost naked right now. I have to double check with him. I don't know what he's wearing, but let's find out. The publisher of Detroit Lions on Sports Illustrated, podcaster, Lone Wolves podcast. Check out his stuff. Follow him on X, Detroit Podcast. Let's bring him in, Mr. Maakaron. What the hell are you wearing?
Bro, I told you guys, summer's here. Summer's over for the doc. I told you I'd come in, sun's out, guns out on the last appearance of my summer vacation. And here we are, baby. I'm having a good time. I had myself one of the best summers I've ever had, and now it's going to end. But here we go. What do we got today, boys?
Wow. I love this. I love this. This is going to go great. So let me start this with you, Mr. DOC. All right. There's things going on right now, and I know you don't have information, or at least I don't think you have information. You may, because no media was allowed to go there and cover training camp. But what do you think happened today with Tate Ratledge? Just a feeling from what you've gathered, or maybe have you seen? We don't know if he's reported or not. What do you make of the whole debacle, and what's your confidence level that the Lions maybe give in or maybe not give in on this whole second round fully guaranteed thing?
Yeah, I was listening to you guys, and absolutely right. You guys were saying it. I don't think he showed up, but I think he's right around the corner waiting for the Detroit Lions to make the deal. And it's tough. I look at it and I go, man, I kind of wanted a drama-free training camp, but we're going to have some drama because he was the 57th pick. And I do believe that maybe there's a duty that a lot of these second rounders want to have, and they want to set forth the opportunity for a bunch of guys to get guaranteed money. So I understand it. I understand it really from both sides. I'm not really upset if someone's going to, really look at it and your agent says, hey, you have a chance to get, so many $1 million and fully guaranteed no matter what happens to you, you take it. But at the same time, it does hurt the team if he does miss a couple meetings, but there's some time. Just like the doc is relaxing, Tate is probably in the same position I'm in right now, chilling, relaxing, and waiting because rookies reported, but nobody's going to really step foot on the field for major duties until Sunday. So I think that there's some opportunity for some time for this negotiation to take place. So he could show up and sit in meetings, but absolutely under no circumstance would he lift or be able to show up on the field by NFL rules. Not like he would, make a decision or do some insurance type thing. NFL rules, if you don't have a contract, you're not participating in the actual work at training camp. He could sit in meetings, but I do think that he is, and guys, look, common sense, right? You guys are content creators. I'm a wonderful content creator. A lot of people in this chat are content creators. Did you guys notice on the day that the Lions rookies reported, any photos show up? Did you guys crop any photos out and put them online? Did anybody see Isaac?
That's true. Nothing.
Did anybody see Ahmed with his guns out working out today? Why didn't they post any photos on the social media channels? You could read into that they don't want me and you and everybody else going, wait a minute, there's one guy missing because there's only 7 pictures you got to take, and they would only have 6. So
It's a great point, Doc.
I do think he was not there today, in my humble opinion, but I'm only speculating.
Doc, I do want to actually, outside of all of that, the second probably biggest conversation that's being had, second and third, is really this Anzo and Hutch stuff. What are your thoughts now that we're kind of the week of training camp? Things are starting to pick up. Summer's over, like you said. What do you think is going to happen here? Do you think the Anzo thing gets done now that we are approaching camp within the next week or so?
I look at it and I say,
did you talk to Slick Rick? Did you talk to Slick Rick, Doc?
Slick Doc probably looking at it and going, they're probably finalizing their contract over the next couple weeks and having talks. Look, I do think that there's time. Alex is under contract, and maybe there's a situation in which he's got to wait for Aiden, wait for other situations to take place. But does Brad Holmes strong arm one of the team captains? I don't think so. I think that you probably assume that they're putting something together in place that probably could be announced on Friday or Saturday before camp. You want him happy. And if not, maybe it happens a couple days into camp. But I look at it and I say, Alex Anzalone will be here. I would be shocked if he actually decided not to show up to training camp. He'll be here. I do think it'd be great if he didn't have a contract. He comes in, stands up for himself and says, hey, I feel like I earned it. That would put a little bit of pressure on the organization. And I think one conversation with Dan And one conversation with Brad Holmes would move things pretty much along. And I think it would be great if Alex was in town. So I'm not terribly concerned because I don't think it's going to be that much more money. One more year, a couple more $1 million, and you got yourself a player that's going to be quite happy. So I do think that Alex is on the agenda. I just think he's behind a couple other guys.
Do you think, Doc, that there's a realistic chance that he ends up playing without a contract done?
He has a contract. He has a contract this
I guess
year.
an extension done.
But an extension. Yeah, I do think so. I do think that he's got obligations that I do think he wants to be a professional. And I do think he would. I don't think he'd be happy about it, but I do think he's a company guy. I do think that the relationship that he's formed with Derek Barnes is super close. And I think you would be hard-pressed to see one of your brothers out there grinding and working for a goal while you're sitting back. And he's well paid. $6 million is not chump change, but I do not see a scenario. Now, I do not see a scenario in which he plays this year on his last year because of what he's done. So I just think that something gets done. It doesn't have to be right away because I do think there's opportunity to talk over training camp. I do think that there's I do think that he made his point. He knows his value. And I think, and plus two guys, I don't really, it's kind of, been the norm that the line starters don't really play in the preseason. So he'll practice, but he doesn't have to play and suit up during the game. So there'll be opportunities for him and his representation to have conversations. I think they'll take place. And once Brad Holmes gets into gear, you've kind of noticed that they get into place and they handle business.
I've interrupted the video to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, Comer & Cross, and their one-day installation for concrete floor coatings, garages, basements, patios. They do it all. And I'm sure you're tired of staring at your crack-stained garage floor. Well, I have the answer for you. Comer & Cross in their summer installation sale, they're offering 12 months same as cash or $500 in savings. Why put it off? You can contact the number 248-834-3488. They transform patios, pool decks, basements, even driveways. They do it all. And the best part is they move the stuff out for you. They repair your cracks and pits before applying your stunning new floor, guaranteed. Comer & Cross concrete floors never chip, crack, or peel like epoxy or paint. Again, you could call the number 248-834-3488, or you can book your free estimate at comercross.com. Let's get back to the video. Doc, just wanted you to Dark Flame it says Doc wants you to check out the hook while TJ revolves. Don't change chat, please. That's my favorite comment. All right, let me ask you this. So Frank Ragnow officially retired. Roster spot open. You know how people are. What the hell's happening with that roster spot, Doc? All right, is this easy? Is it easy to say Za'Darius, or you think that's just something precautionary, looking at to kind of post training camp when guys are cut, maybe looking at some options there?
Yeah, they always like to keep a roster spot. It might have to be for another lineman. If Tate holds out, you might have to go out there and get Brandon Scherf or somebody out there to come in here. I heard you guys' conversation. I do think that Cologne has been underrated. Once people get a chance to see him, maybe they will speak more about him as a realistic option to compete with Graham Glasgow, because most people think the competition is between Tate and Graham. But look, it's a nice opportunity to build depth, but it's just going to be basically, I think, for a camp body, a special teamer, somebody that maybe if there's an injury that happens early in practice, I think maybe they leave it open. Or I don't think, again, it would be great. I think it would be a nice jump start if it was Za'Darius Smith, but I think Za'Darius is just like me. Why would you show up to camp when you can sit back and have, like we've said, all the teams can vie for your services? If one injury goes down, you make yourself another $1 million. So I would be shocked if Za'Darius is there week one. That's a lot of work and wear and tear on your body. The first couple of weeks are light, no pads just yet, but I would be pleasantly surprised if Za'Darius Smith is that spot. But I can't wait to see what positions they value a little bit more, where they feel they need more depth, because probably it's at safety. You have clearly the best two, but behind there's competition. You could look there. You could look at linebacker, offensive line. So you could have competition at a lot of different spots.
Hey, one big thing, Doc, that I've noticed coming up starting in training camp, this isn't just here in Detroit, like nationally. I've seen CBS, I've seen ESPN. I've seen a lot of people talk about this player, Jack Campbell. It seems like this is like a big year for him to take a jump. How do you feel about what he's about to go into, especially training camp, potentially no Anzo to start? What do you think happens with Jack Campbell this year? Do you think he puts himself in that conversation of top 5 to 10 linebackers in the NFL? And what do you think he needs to do to get to that spot?
Listen, man, it's great to see. These rankings were fun this year. A lot of stuff that was debatable. I listened to you guys talk about the wide receivers. I look at Jack Campbell and I say, okay, honorable mention. I see a player that's just going to be a guy that's going to be really probably truly a breakout candidate. Somebody that's going to get a lot of tackles, going to make noise, impact plays. I think he's ready to take over that leadership spot. And you got to make your case that if Alex Anzalone is on the last year here in Detroit and you're the replacement, got to show out and show what you're about. And I think Jack Campbell every single year. Now, he did have that little bit of an offseason surgery. I'm curious to see how he looks the first couple of weeks of camp, but I can't wait. I think he's a big, strong physical presence, the captain of that defense, emerging leader. I think that he's somebody that's really no nonsense. I think that he's somebody that had the capability of, being the green dot wearer of the helmet when Alex Anzalone was out. But I just think that he's just got to improve in a lot of facets of his game, most notably against the pass. It's tough in this league, reading and recognizing, different route combinations that these tight ends and running backs are going with. But most importantly, I do think I want to see him a little bit more in terms of getting better at rushing the passer and delivering sacks and getting after it. But all around, I just see great improvement. And I do think that he'll, by the end of the year, will cement himself as being the guy that I think people will be comfortable. If Alex Anzalone moves on, that's the guy.
Well, Doc, we talked about the rookies too earlier. We've been talking about them the last 2 days, and I think that's going to be probably – it's always the hot topic of training camp is how the rookies look. Is there any specific rookies you're looking forward to seeing, or any guys that you think will, by the end of camp, based on your expertise, that as a writer you can already kind of see, hey, this guy might be the storyline here to follow, or is there anyone that you think could surprise people?
Yeah, I think pretty much half of the rookies are going to draw a lot of attention. Clearly, Tate Ratledge and his competition to start, I think, is going to be somebody people pay attention to. Tyleik Williams is going to be the replacement. He's going to be a day one starter. So I think right away. And then Tesla, I think, has got the same swag as the DOC. I think he'll go out there and he'll start showcasing his skills, make some plays, hopefully maybe develop a connection with Hendon Hooker and Jared Goff right away. But I think the guy that everybody's going to want to see is Ahmed Hassani. They want to see the destroyer. They want to see him get after it and compete, go up against Manu, battles against Mason Miller and Colby Sorsdahl and the guards. And I just can't wait to see how fast he moves up and what units he's on. Probably second and third units, back and forth there to start, but then maybe some nice competitive battles against Taylor Decker as training camp progresses. I do agree with you guys. I think he's got a chance to make noise in training camp, but it's going to be one of those deals where I do think there is a firm number one opposite of Aiden. That's Marcus Davenport. And the Lions, though, are not shy to give playing time to those that excel. And I do think that he'll have his opportunities. And I kind of feel it has the James Houston feel where he'll start to put up big sack numbers. If he gets over the number you guys put out for, it'll probably happen in the second half of the year. It takes time to acclimate. And I don't think the Lions are going to just throw him out there week one against Green Bay. I do think that they'll roll with a different combination. So I do think that early on, he might get 10, 15% of defensive snaps and then steadily improve to hopefully be able to play a lot more as the season progresses. But he's still raw. But I agree with 100% what you said. I do think he'll probably be on the track to develop quite fast.
Hey, outside of just specific questions, Doc, what are you looking for as you being someone in the media who's going to be at camp over this whole next few weeks and months? What are you looking for specifically? What are some of the big storylines that you're going to be looking for when you first get to Allen Park over the next couple weeks?
Great question. Listen, here's the fun part about summer. My reps have put in the request to the Lions. Now, most likely they have replied to the reps. I have not officially replied to my reps that I have been approved. Now, 99.9% I'm going to be there, but I have yet to have the formal conversation that I'm going to be there. But it's going to be like 99.99% I'm approved, but I'm taking my sweet ass time to get with the people. I can't wait to go out there. Listen, it's my 7th year. I've seen it all. I've looked over the last couple of years coverage. It's been pretty similar. I mean, I don't think there's going to be a lot of changes. I think I'm going to be excited for the joint practices against Miami. My fellow colleague from Miami is coming to town, hopefully, and he's just been a great mentor and friend. And he's going to come to town, and we'll hang out after practices. The practice against the Texans, I'm excited for. Look, I think the early storylines, I just want to see Jared Goff. I mean, the first thing I always look at is, okay, how are the quarterbacks playing? Goff, it might take a little bit of time early going up against sometimes I feel like the defense has been a little bit ahead of the offense early in camps. Clearly, I want to see how Hendon Hooker looks out there. I want to see, has he developed? What's it look like against Kyle Allen? The young line. I think a lot of people are going to look at who's shuffling where, where does Graham line up? Where does Mahogany line up? So the offensive line shuffle is going to be up there. And I just want to see the battles, man. I love seeing Aiden Hutchinson against Panay one-on-one. Those are just must see. I love the opportunity, hopefully, for JMO to match up against Ennis and Terrion Arnold and DJ Reed. Amon-Ra probably on par with the most talkative player in terms of trash talking to his own team. When he makes a play, he's right there talking junk, and I think it brings the level of competition up because we saw it a couple of years ago. You see it now that Amon-Ra doesn't want to lose a rep, and I can't wait to see the one-on-one battles when pads come on. But I just think that early on, I think a lot of people look at the development of the rookies, the quarterbacks, some of the depth battles, position battles that are going to take place out there. So a lot of things to write about. I'm excited, getting my energy up. Man, it's going to be tough because you realize that the summer treated me very well. I had a good time. I've had a great time. But now the work starts, and I'm in the mix. I'm blessed to be able to do it. They've still let a crazy MFer like me out there for 7 years. It's great. I love the opportunity. You guys have blessed me to be able to have as much fun as humanly possible covering sports. And it's great. I'm excited. I'm truly excited. This year might end up being the year where the Lions get to go to the Super Bowl and maybe get to cover the NFL on the biggest stage humanly possible. But I've done it all. It's just some new stories. And I just feel like I'm probably more on the entertaining side, more podcasts, more opinions, more columns from myself. A lot of things to work on and do. But look at this, guys. Told you I ain't soft either. Look at that.
Oh, you're
gosh.
Doc. Whoa, man.
I ain't soft either. See, different
You're
style.
hard, dude.
Hey, what's that?
You're a hardo, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was 19 years old. I should flash that at NFL camp. Be like, what? Doc has a what? Yeah. I'm not 100% clean.
Yeah, I had no doubts, Doc. I had no doubts. Doubts about Doc. Let me ask you this. You mentioned the quarterback stuff. We asked Jeremy this with Hendon Hooker, and his response was he thinks that the feeling he has is since they haven't brought in better competition to compete with Hendon Hooker, he would lean that he's going to win the job. Obviously, you have to see him perform, but what do you make of that? The Lions haven't brought in like a legit backup. I mean, Kyle Allen's a backup, but I wouldn't say he's a legit backup. What do you think of that and just kind of your confidence level that maybe the Lions are comfortable with Hendon and excited for him to kind of take the job? Because if they were more worried, Doc, wouldn't you think they'd bring in a bigger name?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. The DOC from the 313 has to lock in on the backup quarterbacks, right? I just think Hendon's the guy. I mean, I would be like, I would not be surprised if at the end of training camp, they go out and get another backup if he doesn't play well. But he's going to have every opportunity to go out there and shine. I think that he's, there's going to be some talent out there, and there's going to be young talent. I mean, I think he's going to have an opportunity to get out there and throw to Lovett and Tesla and get out there and showcase pretty early what he's about. But he's got to show something. So I'm excited to see what he could bring to the table. But unfortunately, that's the tough part, is he's got a personal relationship with the GM. So it's a challenge to give a full evaluation because, all we've seen is just small glimpses. Now, hopefully, knowing that there's an extra game, a game on July 31st, I hope that he takes every single snap in the first half of all these games, and it's like a true battle. You give Hendon Hooker the first 2 quarters, maybe a little bit in the second half, and then you get Kyle Allen some reps too. But he's got to lead some drives, clean football, lead the offensive line, make it look somewhat clean throughout the whole process, limit the turnovers. And so all you need is just because I think everyone kind of has the feel of like, hey, if Jared Goff goes down, it's a wrap. It's over. But, realistically speaking, could Hendon Hooker for a series or two lead a couple drives? Maybe, but I would be more comfortable with a veteran. And again, look to the organization. I'm curious to see the battles are also at Cleveland. What, they got 5-6 quarterbacks starting. They could drop Kenny Pickett. They could drop the veteran Joe Flacco. If one of those two get cut and Hendon drops, I would look to the Browns and bring one of those guys here because I think that there's a little bit better talent proven with the Browns in their backup battle.
Doc, be very careful how you answer this question. One of the biggest things going around the internet right now is the Penei Sewell, Lane Johnson argument. There are some former players that are getting on this. Let's get the Doc's opinion on it. How are you feeling? Where would you put Penei Sewell around Lane Johnson, Tristan Wirfs? How do you think he lands? And do you agree or disagree with, what's his name, Charles Schwartz, supposed to be 4-time All-Pro, that has never watched Penei Sewell play snap of football?
Close. Mitchell Schwartz. Brother of Jeff Schwartz, who used to play for the Lions. And here's the thing. This is truly one of those deals where you are really, looking for, small slivers of comparisons. Lane Johnson's one of the best, but he's 35 years old. If you're starting a team tomorrow, you're taking Penei Sewell. There is more respect across the league in terms of left tackles versus right, but we all know that if Penei Sewell were to switch over to the left side, he'd protect Jared Goff's blind side, no problem. And I just think that he was saying things tongue in cheek, but in regards to what he was saying that based on PFF rankings, he sees that Penei Sewell's pass blocking is not the best. Look, all you got to do is realize he's given up less than 3 sacks the last couple years. So the pass blocking department is just fine. So I do think that these professional linemen are really looking at fine tooth. These are things that would get corrected on a week-to-week basis. When Penei Sewell at the end of games, he gets graded. He has things to work on in terms of hand placement, fundamentals, shifts and things like that. So he's always going to get better. Guys, he's less than 26 years old. He's going to dominate. And so, look, it's a great debate to have. I'm glad the Lions built their foundation around that guy. Look, he's a monster. He's a beast. And I get to see him every day. I get to see the growing leader that he is, quiet confidence. And when he's out there on the field, you're telling me you'd be comfortable if you're a defensive lineman going up against Penei Sewell? Yeah, okay. Penei Sewell is one of the game's greats, one of the top 2 right tackles. I think everybody in the chat, everybody in Lions Nation is proud to have Penei Sewell. And people on the outside that want to talk about, look, in the end, it would be like me rating you guys versus other people. I have a loyalty to you guys. I'd have a lot of respect for what you guys do. I'd have a lot of nice things to say. But at the same token, I think that there's some innate bias that Mr. Schwartz has for Lane Johnson, and that's fine. I respect that for sticking up for Lane Johnson and the work that he's done. Bro, at 34 years old, if Penei Sewell's doing that, man, that would be some legendary stuff. So Penei Sewell, listen, he's going to win the Protector of the Year this year. You know that. And he's going to be an All-Pro. He's going to be a legend in Detroit. And I just think that it's fun to listen to, but you guys are absolutely right. If you take what Schwartz said seriously, I think that you're wasting time. Penei Sewell is great. And Jared Goff sleeps well at night with Penei Sewell on the right side.
Doc, I'll ask you this too. Another kind of side note, and I guess the only reason why we bring this up is because of Hard Knocks when you get to see Aaron Glenn and Deuce Staley. And I know they're unique personalities, but what are you expecting to kind of see out of Kelvin and out of John Morton? It could be personality wise, or maybe things you're looking forward to see kind of how they coach, because at least with Kelvin, you're more familiar. You've been in the building. You've gotten to see him in action to some degree. This is obviously much more bigger. He's a defensive coordinator, but John Morton, this is kind of new. He's been an OC with the Jets, but in terms of in Detroit, he's been assistants. He's been an offensive assistant in different places, but as an OC, it'll be exciting. What are you kind of expecting out of those two new coordinators to see how they kind of run things?
Yeah, I expect competition. I think it's going to be great. I think you're going to see a lot of talking, not really from Morton to Kelvin Shepherd to Shard Choice. When you guys go out there and all the fans, listen, here's a little fun note. I wouldn't mind it. Don't be too loud because I don't want to draw too much attention. But if you see me walking, I typically will be in my own little world thinking about coverage. Yell out my name. Yell out Doc. It'd be great. I'll come say hi. A lot of people have DM'd me looking forward to training camp. You guys know I stopped watching the practice and came up there and said hello to you guys when you came up to camp. So I have a good time covering the NFL. So say Doc, and I'll come by and give you a shout out, and it'll be a fun time. I'm a man of the people. Tashard Choice and Kelvin Shepherd are going to go back and forth, kind of how Glenn and Johnson did. Yeah, Tashard Choice likes to talk, and he likes to talk loudly. And I think Kelvin Shepherd will be somebody to get after it a little bit. Morton, I think, will be working with Hendon Hooker and Jared Goff and J-Mo, and I don't think he's going to get into too much banter with Kelvin Shepherd. What I want to see from the defensive coordinator, aggression. I want to see how the linebackers look, where the which linebacker gets the position to line up along the defensive line. Is it Derek Barnes? Is it Jack Campbell at times? Is it Alex? I want to see how I do think that the linebackers maybe five-man front there at times. I want to see different iterations of ways in which he can bring pressure. So I'm curious to see how the linebackers look clearly, because he used to coach that position. And clearly, I think that what I like about this defense, and it was, if you check out Lions on SI today, I was browsing the internet like we all do, and I came across a great site. The league site does good work. A lot of good writers, a lot of people I've interviewed when they come to town. One of the writers did a ranking of the league defenses, and he had the Lions, I think, in the top 10. And he believes that the reason why the Lions defense can maybe outdo what the projections are is because there's so much young talent. When you think about it, Terry and Arnold, Jack Campbell, Ennis Rakestraw, you have a young under 30 Amik Robertson, who's very underrated in my mind, Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch. You have your makings of a very young defense. I want to see development. I want to see big time growth from Terry and Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw. And I think that's the next step. I do think that Kelvin Shepherd will be fundamentally sound, will have utilized all the tutelage that he learned from Aaron Glenn. But I want to see, all right, now your job is also to lead, but your job is to develop. And that's what Aaron Glenn did a good job of. You saw a lot of guys from Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch. You saw a lot of guys get better. I want to see the same thing from this young group of defensive backs and linebackers. And if you see that, if you see young guys get better, maybe some new moves, wrinkles with Aiden Hutchinson, if you see everybody stay healthy and they play well, this defense can be definitely top 5. No doubt about it.
Hey, one thing that we missed out with you on, Doc, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, I think the Jared Goff stuff came out after we spoke with you last Wednesday. I think it came out Thursday, I believe. I could be so wrong on that, Doc, completely honest. What are your thoughts on how Jared Goff was perceived, though, in that whole series there on Netflix, the quarterback series? Did you think it kind of showed him in a good light and more people kind of open a little bit more? You saw some of the rankings now. He was ranked 8th. In one of the rankings that we got to see, the ESPN one. Do you think that's something that more people are going to be like, hey, Jared Goff might be a little bit more legit than people actually think?
Yeah, to reset for DM5. Simple question for the chat again, if Tate reported, don't you think there'd be some photos on the Lions Twitter page? Just go check out Twitter/Lions and check out Crunch Time. Did they lift any photos and post them yet? Why didn't they? Inquiring minds want to know. That kind of lends to my ability that maybe he wasn't there, and there's been a little bit of a hush, do not talk yet, because they don't want people analyzing who's there and who's not. I love all football documentaries on Netflix. I've watched a lot. I watched it day one. I watched it straight for the day it came out. I got up at 5:30. I was excited, and I was crazy. Like, I didn't even think about it, and I've never been that way where, like, reporters are like, why didn't you just skip through Kirk Cousins and Joe Burrow? Dude, I laughed my ass off. I think I probably, looking at how I'm styled right now, I probably need Joe Burrow stylist. Don't you think? Hit me in a handbag. Do you guys think if I listen, you guys know me as a humble reporter. If I raise my profile even more, let's say because I got invited to another team's NFL website, if I raise my profile, do you think I should walk around Allen Park with a satchel, with a bag, wear the bling that I own to there, and just kind of show up with a camera crew and just be like, I don't care, I need 5 people following me at all times and do things? Maybe. I don't know. But I enjoyed Joe Burrow's personality. I enjoyed Kirk Cousins and the way in which he's crazy. And guess what? So there must be something with Spartans and Great Clips. I go to Great Clips. I have a Great Clips punch card, but my situation is different.
Wait.
I'm a
You go to
2-minute
Great
haircut. It's just a 3 all over. It takes me 3 minutes.
Take the hat off. Take the hat off. Take the hat off.
No,
We got to. You can't say Great Clips and not show the hair.
You know what? Next week I will definitely be cleaned up, clean shaven.
Oh, he's not cleaned up. That's why he's got the hat.
I'm in my sun's out, not wearing a hat for a couple of days. True hat head, not worthy of. That's why I wear hats here, guys. I think I'm better looking covering up this massive dome.
He wasn't expecting us to ask today to take that hat off.
To go in terms of revealing stuff, but I watched the whole series and Kirk Cousins with it. I didn't skip ahead to Jared Goff. I liked what they featured with Jared Goff, but in the end, here's my review. I thought that I wrote a column that said that Jared Goff would be a bigger star after the series, and I truly believe that. It showed his grittiness. It showed him talking trash on the field. It was good PR for Jared Goff, but I wanted, in terms of being a content creator, something different. I didn't want to see another all series long feature with Jared and his wife. I mean, we've seen that in plenty of other times at Hard Knocks. Jared and Kristen. I wanted to see a little bit more of Jared and Dan Campbell. Does he have relationships with anybody else besides Amon-Ra? I would have liked to have seen some work with J-Mo, some work with Sam Laporta. I would have liked to have seen him having a meeting after the Buffalo game and talking to Dan about the loss and other kind of stuff. I just thought that it was kind of a simple approach with some of the narratives they approved. And I have a producer's brain, so I would have done a lot more different things in depth, but he didn't want to go there. And I felt like you could have did a lot more. So in essence, I just wanted the whole series to focus on Jared Goff, and I would have liked to have seen that. I just thought it was too much Kristen Goff. And it's nice. I mean, yeah, she's a fan of her guy. She's going to be sad when they lose and happy when they win. Nothing out of the ordinary to me. I wanted to see him talking to his teammates and Gibbs and game planning and kind of a little bit more how Cousins and Joe Burrow were featured with their teammates. But Goff was a little different. It was more a little bit on him and a little bit on his kind of redemption story early on. But I mean, for us, in the end, for me, because I've been around him for the entire time, I was the one. If you go back and listen to his introductory press conference, he gave one real answer. It was to me. I asked him, I said, "Hey, you got traded here to this situation. Does that put a chip on your shoulder?" And he's like, I'm going to answer you honestly. Yeah, it does. I'm ready to do this. I want to prove this wrong. So right from day one, I was checking into his mindset. I wanted to see more of that. And I think it would be great because I do think he's a competitive gamer that, like you said, that he gave little nuggets where he said he's thought about that Washington game the entire offseason, wakes up at night because of how awful he played. So I wanted to see more of that. I wanted to a whole episode diving into what he's done this offseason to get better. I just would have produced it a whole lot different, but that's just me.
Doc, we know why they showed Christian Goff. Come on, man.
Yeah, but exactly. But of course,
I got two reasons. But go ahead.
Yeah, of course. Sports Illustrated supermodel.
Yeah, that's fair. Let me ask you this. So you mentioned the ranking list. We actually broke down the running back one, and Jameer was third on that list behind Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley. And the conversation that we keep having with Lions fans is kind of the trajectory of Jameer and what that means in regards to where he'll be ranked this year with like Saquon. Does he have a down year? Derrick Henry, does he finally kind of hit the wall? But he does have David Montgomery alongside him. What's your take on that? Because we know he's talented, but you also don't want to keep him. You want to keep him fresh. How do you think the Lions kind of balance that? And do you think by the end of the year we'll have more of this? Like, yeah, he's better. He's better than one of those two guys, or maybe he stays where he is.
Yeah, I want to address what Xavier said real fast. So this is a Real Madrid hat. Okay, and here's the story of how I got it. Last year I went to New York for the joint practices. I drove it. And it was a beautiful drive, no traffic, right until we get into New Jersey. The second we get into New Jersey, it's right in the pregame of Real Madrid versus Barcelona's exhibition game. I'm like, we ain't moving. It's 6:30 at night. We ain't moving an inch. Where are all these people coming from? And I find out it's Real Madrid and Barcelona. I'm like, we ain't moving for a while. And literally, we were 5 minutes away from our destination. So there was this guy out there in the middle of the road selling these hats for like $25. And I said, we ain't moving. I'm like, I'm bored. I'm like, SA, $15 cash. And he's like, no. I said, $15 cash or else. And he's like, fine. He took my cash, so I saved $10. I felt funny.
Did you rob him, Doc? Did you or else? You said 15 or else.
15.
Did you rob this guy?
15, no bueno. I said 15 all day. 15 SA. He said, okay. He took my cash. And I said, you know what? I earned my Middle Eastern card for a year where I bartered for a hat. And I wore it. I'm like, you know what? I'm a big soccer fan. I love the English Premier League. My team is not Real Madrid, but I bought it just bored out of my mind in a car stuck on the highway next to MetLife Stadium. So I've had it just sitting here, and I'm a big soccer fan. My team's Liverpool. I grew up when I think in the late 90s, Gerrard there got them a Champions League title when they were behind, and it just shocked the world. So I'm a big sports fan, but it just looks good. And I just feel like, you know what? Whatever I rock kind of has some kind of swag to it, but I know I'm not taking no bong hits. I'm just chilling. I'm doing the DOC thing, having a good time. And I told you guys, I teased it. I told you a month ago that at the end of the summer, I was going to come out here and just hang loose and say whatever and be chill. And that's what I'm doing. Now, like you guys said, don't let Jahmyr Gibbs get hot, because he's going to end up in that conversation like Saquon Barkley. He's right on par with him. He's on par with Saquon Barkley. And this year, Dan Campbell and John Morton are going to be like, all right, it's time to put the pedal to the metal, get it from third gear to fifth gear. They're going to give him the football. He said it out loud, which was wild to say. He's like, yeah, I've been kind of John Morton wants me out there in split formations a lot more, and I'm going to get the ball probably a little bit more in the passing game. So I expect fully 1,000-yard rushing, 1,000-yard receiving. Yeah, of course, you're going to involve David Montgomery, but this is the year I think you unleash Jahmyr Gibbs, and at worst next year he'll be number 2 behind Saquon Barkley. So I'm fully excited for Jahmyr Gibbs. I like his personality. He's quiet, confident, and but when he gets on the field, he's a straight up killer. And I just think that the fan base is going to fall even more in love with the Alabama guys this year. Arnold, Jamison Williams, Jahmyr Gibbs. Look out. They'll go as far as those guys carry them. And Jahmyr Gibbs, I think, is just, for me, I just wish he'd let his personality out a little bit more. Very buttoned up. Very Nick Saban got to him. Like, dang it. Nick Saban got to J-Mo, got to Terrion, got to his guys, and they don't talk a whole heck of a lot, but he's got a lot to say. He's definitely animated, and who gets it out of him is David Montgomery. He calls him right out. He's like, why are you acting like that when they come in here? Like, this guy ain't. David Montgomery just calls him out. He's like, this guy don't act like this when we're in the room. And Jahmyr's like, come on, man, just be quiet. These guys are gonna leave soon. So it's always fun to see how the guys button up that don't want to talk to the media. I hope he does, because I think he's got a good personality. We're not that mean. It's pretty straightforward in Detroit. You play good, we write nice things. You don't play good, we criticize. It's just the straight up nature of sports. Yeah,
I do want to ask you here, Doc. I know I already talked about storylines you're looking for. Can I ask you kind of just like some players? And I'm not asking storylines. I kind of want to know like surprise players for fans that are watching to keep an eye out. I'm not talking the Jahmyr Gibbses and the Amon-Ra's and Brian Branches. I'm talking some, second, third string players that are going to be fighting for spots or even starting positions here on this team that people need to keep an eye out for heading into training camp over the next few weeks.
Yeah, no doubt. Booner, get the yayo. Let's see.
Jeez. I mean, this.
what is? I didn't understand. I didn't.
You gotta put that in a translator, Boone. That's a.
Yeah.
I didn't hear what he said.
The chat will get it. The chat gets it. I knew Booner wouldn't get that. That's the best. I
just didn't hear what you said, Doc. What'd you say?
That makes it funny. Chat, fill in Booner what I just told him. It was good stuff.
Coca-Cola, Boone, but not the Coca-Cola you're thinking of. That's the best. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I got it. I thought you said okay. Yep. All right.
Yeah. No,
I didn't understand the pronunciation. I know what you said.
You learn something new, Boone. Every time.
No, it's not something new that I've learned. Like I know it. Oh, okay. I'm not saying I've done that, but I'm saying is I've heard of this term.
Where's that?
I've heard of the term. I've heard of the term.
Where's that line from, Booner?
I don't know. I've heard this term. Someone has said that. It might have. It could have been Jeff.
Right. So it's a movie that I think if you guys
one of my favorite movies of all time.
It's one of the great movies of all time. And so I'll let you guys share what that is in the chat and all that good stuff. Players that are going to step up. I do want to see the developmental players. I'm not like you guys made a concrete statement that you don't think Colby Sorsdahl is there. I do think he's got some competitiveness to him. I want to see what opportunity he has. Maybe it's at center. I want to see that. I do want to see Broderick Martin and Giovanni Manu step up and make some plays. I think that a lot of people right now have Colby Sorsdahl, Broderick Martin on the outs, and I want to see them compete because, yeah, Broderick Martin's got a long way to go to kind of move up the depth chart. I want to see his competitiveness. I want to see him battle and make it a tough decision if they end up having to move on from him. A guy that I think is really intriguing for this defense that I do think has that in him and was really devastated about the bad year that he had. And this Rakestraw, he's somebody, when you watch the film on him and you watch a little closer, very physical, can play press, can do a lot of different things. I think he can be on the outside, can play nickel. He can help this football team. And I think that he'll be a breakout candidate. He'll be a guy that people talk about in the second half of the year as somebody that takes a stride forward. And so I think there's a lot of young talent that can compete and do some things. And I'm very excited to see those opportunities for a lot of the young guys to get after it.
Hey, what's going on there? It's Jeff Iafrate. Appreciate you for finishing the video. You can check out one of the videos here suggested or show support by commenting, liking, and subscribing. And buy your merchandise, FisherCTSports.com.